Hello, this is jazz singer Nicole Henry coming to you from Miami Beach, Florida, and thank you for catching me here at Jazz Across the Pond with the Jazz Cat and Mr. G. I hope you enjoy.
You made me leave my happy home. You took my love, but now you're gone. Since I fell for you, love brings such misery and pain. I think I'll never be the same. Not since I fell for you. But it's too bad and it's too sad, but I'm in love with you. First you loved me, then you snubbed me, but what can I do? I'm still in love with you. Oh, I guess I'll never see the light. I get the blues every night since I fell for you. But I'm in love with you. First you loved me, then you snubbed me. But what more can I do? Because I'm so in love with you. I'll never see the light, because you got me getting the blues every night. Darling, since I fell, darling, since I fell, darling, since I fell for you, what am I supposed to do? Since I fell for you, you made me love you, baby. Since I fell, you made me leave my happy home. You took my love, you took my love, but now you're gone. Darling, darling, you made me love you, baby. You made me love you, darling. Oh, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? 'Cause I'm still in love with you.
Well, What can I say about that most incredible track? Since I fell for you, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to fall in love with tonight's artist because tonight, well, what I was trying to think of some words. I was thinking adorable, delectable, endearing, delightful. And may I go as far as saying stunning or even embraceable, which coincidentally is the track that album came. You see the way I played that into that?
Oh my
Did
God.
the whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest on Jazz Across the Pond to kick 2022 off after the great success of 2021. We are kicking off tonight. We've got Kevin there, who I know has had snow this week. In England, it's 3 degrees here, pouring rain. But tonight we have a ray of sunshine coming from Miami Beach tonight because we have our very special guest tonight, the world's most acclaimed vocalist, possessing a dynamic of vocal abilities, impeccable phrasing, together with a powerful, emotional, heartfelt charisma. Ladies and gentlemen, Jazz Across the Pond extends a very, very warm welcome to the wonderful Nicole Henry.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm glad this is recorded. That was great. Thank you for that introduction. That's wonderful. Wow. Thank you. It's a joy to be with you. Great to be with you. Wow. 2022. What?
Wow. Yeah. 2022 is going to be a better year. I know 2021. We teased our followers. We said, we're trying to get of Nicole Henry, and people going, when? And so it's nice to finally get it. And it's great that all our diaries. And so thank you so much. Right. Okay. Let's crack straight on. We got a lot to establish tonight. Our researchers, we were very nice, Kevin and myself. We gave them Christmas and New Year off. We said, have a couple of days with your family. And so they had a couple of days off, but they've come back really, really strong. So let's find out. So Nicole, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Her father, Al Henry, moved his family when he played basketball for the Philadelphia 76ers. And then you grew up in a small community of Bucks County. Now, my first question to you is, can you tell our followers more about your wonderful childhood and your musical family? We want to know more about this, please.
Interesting. Well, thank you. That's correct. My dad's from my dad's from Memphis, Tennessee. My mom's from Columbus, Ohio, and they met in Wisconsin.
Where he played basketball.
Yep,
I know.
There, University of Wisconsin. Then they moved to Philly where my dad got drafted, and he played for a couple years. And I was born after he was actually with the Sixers. One of the amazing things that I'll always remember that I feel like I adored was growing up and going to 2 years of preschool and about kindergarten, first grade, and about 2.5 years of private school in Quaker schools. And there was just something that I remember about the Quaker way of educating people, the students, and just the freedom, but the optimism and the nurturing. I just remember that. And I remember saying, if I ever get rich, I'm going to open a Quaker school wherever I reside, because there was something so nurturing and so accepting about that education that I recall, at least.
The Quakers actually were one of the first 3 peace churches in the United States, so I could understand that totally.
And were really strong in the 1800s in the United States, against slavery, and really, supportive just for love, like you said, and peace. Yeah. So I remember those years. I remember loving going to school and kids. And it's something about those formative years developed in me just this love for humanity. I mean, maybe, you never know what creates who you are. It's such a cumulative daily, era type of thing about how your perspective on life is formed. But I'm just so grateful for having love and having like an understanding of people from a young age. At least I feel like I always wanted to understand people and wanted to let people know that they were understood and see the best in people and be optimistic. And so I'm just grateful for that perspective. So whether it was my mother, my father, all of the above, schooling, Quaker, being raised in the Methodist church, and going to, my grandparents were of course very religious and taught me the books of the Bible. And, but I never felt that, people say the Catholic guilt. I didn't grow up Catholic. I see people that are like, I'm a surviving Catholic. Nothing against any religion, really, but just having some sort of real support. I don't know. I'm just really grateful that I approach life in a really balanced way, I think, and
There you
I
go.
never have a bad day. I have great days or good days, and just have learned to find a good perspective at the end of the day, and I'm just grateful that I have music to express that gratitude.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
Nicole, we've looked at your childhood, and there's a lot of things that have come into play, I feel, that has affected you not only in your early childhood, but as a professional. I mean, we talk about things like your mom played piano. You had your aunt, Deborah Henry. OMG. I mean, she was an exceptional backup vocalist, performed with Patti LaBelle for over 30 years.
Still does.
You grew up with the musical The Wiz. You fell in love with that. That introduced you to Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Nipsey Russell, Lena Horne, Richard Pryor as The Wiz.
Yes.
You went through ballet classes. You learned to play the cello, which you played for about 6 years.
That's right.
You were in the
right.
school chorus from grade 3, and you were in the church choir.
That's right.
So I'm not a bartender,
but
I know that you can take multiple ingredients, shake them together, and create a pretty tasty cocktail. Now, when we look at your childhood experiences, we realize that a lot of these things have revolved around instruction in music, both vocal and instrumental, talking about the cello, of course, and dance. So now, my question for you is, who was the bartender in the family who added all these life ingredients together and gave them a good shaking to create Nicole Henry?
Okay, after this interview, I'm going to call my mom and tell her that she is the best bartender in the world, because I do believe, my mom, my mom's parents were very progressive and involved in civil rights and education and knew the importance of education. And my mom made sure that my sister and I, regardless of how many jobs she had to hold, made sure that she exposed us to things, made sure that we knew going into middle school, we had to learn an instrument, regardless of whatever it was. We had a piano in the house, and for whatever reason, I said, I don't want to learn piano. So I picked the cello, which I love that instrument. She made sure we had ballet class, and if we, after a couple of years, if we wanted to stay in it, we could. My sister didn't, I stayed in it. I played cello for 6 years. I was after school almost every day doing some extracurricular activities, because I was like, I can always go home and watch Little House on the Prairie. I'm going to stay and, and do all kinds of things after school. So my mom really made sure, and now I agree with her that experiences are the what life is about, and that can shape you. Which is one of the reasons why I want to start doing more things for kids in Miami-Dade County. I do one thing. I'm part of an organization that teaches kids free music lessons, but I think it's so important to go camping. You know what I mean? Like all kinds of things that you just don't know what you're going to find out about yourself in those ways. So yes, my mom, I was getting excited when you said bartending, but yes, in that regard, yes, my mom was a wonderful.
I figured as much.
Yeah, I'm really
Great
blessed with
analogy.
that.
I love that, Kevin. So,
cool.
Nico, your passionate, soulful voice and heartfelt charisma has earned you the Soul Train Award for the best traditional jazz performance. You've had multiple top 10 US Billboard hits, and including an HMV Japan jazz album, and have rave reviews worldwide, all totally deserved. And I totally endorse that. I think incredible.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well,
Nicole, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, well, he was just talking about soulful, and I'll flip that back to you mentioned my aunt. I grew up listening to Aretha Franklin.
Absolutely.
I grew up listening to The Wiz, and I grew up listening to my aunt. And my aunt still is a singer to this day, but she was a lead singer of this amazing soul band, couple of them, Anglo-Saxon Brown, which later then changed their name to Silk, and they released some original albums back in the 70s and early 80s. So my sister and I grew up learning every word of my aunt singing, every word of Amazing Grace of Aretha Franklin. And if those are your guides of like how to feel music, I mean, gospel, and then great disco soul, there was just, I was really fortunate and didn't even know it. Yeah.
Right. Well, we do know that in the year 2000, you toured as a backup singer for Robert Blakey's Blackwater Surprise, performing dance music which I found interesting.
Well, no, it's funny, that's something funny on the Wikipedia. That's incorrect. That was blues rock music.
Blues rock.
Yes.
That's even more mind blowing.
Oh, it was so fun. Okay, so I recorded dance music in college, and that's what made me decide I'm going to perform for the rest of my life.
Gotcha.
It was the most scary experience of my life, getting up on stage and not singing one song like you do at a school choir or church choir or competition. Doing 4 songs in a row scared the living Jesus out of me, and I was like, I've got to do this again. It was the first time in my life I was terrified. So doing dance music and performing, and actually that was the first time I got Billboard. I was like number 8 on the Billboard charts with this dance music track, which I loved house music, but anyway, that influenced me to want to become an artist. And but then I did in 2000. That was what allowed me to quit my day job for a couple of years. I had a job after college, and then I got asked to be on the road for about 4 months with this blues rock band out of Detroit. They happened to come to South Florida, and they needed a background singer. So I was that one, that Black woman back there with the tambourine, with the little halter top on, shaking it and screaming, and I had a ball. And this band was soulful and just amazing. Every now and then I pull out their old CD, and I love it. And that was my beginning. Yeah.
Right, well, before Kevin says something, I'm just going to make a note. I'm going to be very seriously tick off to our researchers for getting that message wrong. All right?
No, they're not responsible. It is on Wikipedia.
Whoa, okay, no. We run a tight ship.
Oh, you do?
Well, Nicole, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, in 2001, you began performing with a jazz quintet called Fortified.
Oh, yes. Okay,
remember those guys?
So that was Fortified. That was an original music band. And Lou Duvin, it was original song. And I would go to his house. We'd probably rehearse 3 days a week. And we had these original groovy songs, and we'd have, again, we'd have rehearsal with the whole band before a show. And then we'd go to the show that we were looking forward to for like 3 weeks or a month. And we'd all get paid a total of $125 that we split 5 ways. Ooh. And it was like, wait a second, something's wrong with this picture.
That's the tip. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. How am I going to live off of being like 1 out of 3 bands singing original music at a club? So I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to make a living. But I had a great time with Fortified. We had some great music.
But weren't they the guys that you got the gig with in Miami Beach at the Jazz Club Jazz It?
No, so I was playing with that guitar player. We wound up doing like a duo gig around town and had a steady, and then we started picking up more work, and then we got invited to open up in a jazz club doing like our kind of 70s singer-songwriter stuff. Then got introduced to this jazz club, started singing there. That's when I heard jazz for the first time. For the first time in 2001, like consciously heard jazz standards. That's crazy. And then I was like, oh, this is Frank Sinatra. This is, Berlin and Carmichael or whatever. And I fell in love with jazz and the freedom, because one of the things I love ballads, and doing a lot of gigs in that pop, lounge kind of gigs around town, or even like the wedding band, which I don't knock at all. You can't sing that many ballads. And when I saw this jazz show, I was like, first of all, the lyrics are incredible. No wonder, because they're standards. And I can sing more than like 2 ballads a set. So I just fell in love with this music. And that's all she wrote after that. 2002 was my first gig, April 2002.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do now, I'm consciously aware of time, and we're going to, any moment now, we're going to play another track, and a track from your brand new album. Before then, very quickly, in 2004, you released your debut CD, the wonderful The Nearness of You, and it is a fabulous album on Bannister Records. The album earned you the Best New Jazz Artist Award on the HMV. The following year, I must just say, I mean, there's covers of Imagine John Lennon on there, there's Over the Rainbow, Fly Me to the Moon, The Nearness of You, fabulous album. Then the following year, you then came out with, again, after I heard that album, I thought, wow, you then surpassed it by coming out with the next one there, which was Teach Me Tonight, which one of my favorite songs of all time. And that it went straight to #1 in Japan and was named the HMV Jazz Best Vocal Album of 2005. Now, what we're going to do, another great album. So our followers, if you're sitting there making notes of these, don't worry, we'll come back to it. So we've just now released a fabulous new album. It really is now. And it's Time to Love Again. It is a brilliant album. And what we're going to do momentarily, we're going to break from the interview. Well, we will be back with the lovely Nicole. We're going to momentarily break, and we're going to play. I mean, it was so hard trying to pick a track Kevin and myself were going back and forward on the phone going, which track? And eventually we've gone for Midnight at the Oasis, which I think brilliant track. So Jazz Across the Pond, Kevin and myself, Mr. G and myself, the Jazz Cat. We're going to be back with the lovely Nicole Henry moment. Have a listen to the Midnight Oasis from the lovely new album. Back in a second.
Midnight at the Oasis. Send your camel to bed. Shadows painting our faces. Traces of romance in our heads. Heaven's holding a half moon, shining just for us. Let's slip off to a sand dune real soon and kick up a little dust. Come on, cactus is our friend. He'll point out the way. Come on, till the evening ends, till the evening ends. You don't have to answer, no. There's no need to speak. I'll be your belly dancer, prancer, and you can be my sheep. Oh yeah. I know your daddy's a sultan, a nomad known to all, with 50 girls to attend him. They all send him, they jump at his beck and call. But you won't need no harem, baby, when I am at your side, no. And you won't need no camel. Oh no, I'll take you for a ride. So come on, cactus is our friend. He'll point out the way. Come on, till the evening ends, till the evening ends. Midnight at the Oasis. Go on, darling, send your camel to bed. Got shadows painting our faces. Traces of romance in our head.
Welcome back to Jazz Across the Pond. Jazz interviews reimagined with the Jazz Cat and Mr. G. we've been listening to a reimagined version of Midnight at the Oasis from Nicole Henry's fantastic new project, Time to Love Again. I might add a very nice arrangement of a 1973 composition by acoustic guitarist David, I believe his last name is pronounced Nichtern, and recorded by American folk blues and pop singer Maria Mulder, who earned her multiple Grammy nominations, including both Record and Song of the Year in 1975. So Nicole, like Midnight at the Oasis, your new project, Time to Love Again, contains exceptional covers of compositions by legendary artists like Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, David Bowie, Joan Armatrading, and James Taylor, just to mention a few. Now, it would appear that you gravitate and have developed an appreciation of compositions with poetic lyrics that tell an engaging story. Now, I'm rather fond of Until It's Time for You to Go. And my favorite track is Wild as the Wind. Might surprise you. It's got great instrumentals, and you took me to another world with your vocals. In my opinion, that should be in every set. But if you would, share with our viewers, what is the criteria that you have developed for the songs in your live performances that allows you to engage with the audience through the lyrics, your phrasing, and your overall stage persona or presence?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I think like any musician, the music is part of it, the melody is part of it, but like I would imagine all vocalists, it's about the lyrics, it's about the story. And I'm a sap for sad lyrics. Like I love who's my girl? I love all kinds of sad songs. But I do love the hopefulness in songs. Like for example, Moon River. There's something eerily sad but so hopeful and so realistic about it because I'm a realist. My mom took no excuses, so I love honesty. I love truth. And so yeah, and then I also love fun. You know, I did a live 70s album, Stuck in the Middle with You. I did, and that was about the groove. It's like, and it's just fun singing stuff like, oh gosh, here I am.
Can I just jump in momentarily? You mentioned Moon River. I'm a massive Henry Mancini fan. I mean, incredible. But there was an interview with him years ago, and everybody has covered that one. And they asked Henry Mancini, they said, who do you think did the best ever version of Moon River? And he went, Audrey Hepburn. Wow. And I went, incredible. Out of all the artists, he went, wow. He nailed it.
Wow.
Well, she might have sang that to him at a date, Roger, for all we know, so I wouldn't put too much credence on that.
You know, that movie thing that she did, too.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Good point, Roger. Nicole, in 2010 and 2018, you were invited to perform the national anthem at the Orange Bowl. And for those of you watching outside of the United States, we love our college football, and the Orange Bowl is one of the biggest college events in the United States. The stadium has over 74,000 seats. I mean, it's a big stadium.
So fun.
In 2019, you returned to the theatrical stage and garnered critical acclaim with your portrayal of Nikki Marin in The Bodyguard. It's a new musical based on that smash hit movie from 1992 by the same name. And in 2020, you performed in a new musical, A Wonderful World, the story of Louis Armstrong, which debuted at the Colony Theater in Miami Beach in Florida.
Yes.
So, Nicole, it's amazing. You've performed at world-class sporting events, in large concert halls. You've performed in musicals on stages large and small. You've engaged audiences in intimate jazz clubs across the United States and around the world. And Roger's going to elaborate on that a little bit more. But my question to you, I mean, what's left on your bucket list at this point?
Oh my goodness, there's so much left.
What haven't you done?
Thank you. Well, thank you for acknowledging those moments. That is so fun to think like, oh my goodness, like millions of people are watching me sing this national anthem, which is a song that I love to sing. Again, that song is a question, and it's like it poses a question to Americans listening. But yeah, it's really like you wake up in the morning, you're like, wait, it's just me in the house. Oh, right, I just played for 1 million, 5 million viewing audience. For me, what's left on the roster of things to do is TV, film, hopefully, more musicals, more. I love plays. I love straight plays. Like even having the opportunity to act without music is such a beautiful challenge. I love the psychology of acting and storytelling. Yeah, so that's fun. And then more CDs. I have a hopefully, well, definitely, I have a Nancy Wilson tribute album coming up. I would love to do an orchestral project, me with strings. Just more. I need to write songs, write more songs. But yeah, TV and film. And then as far as outside of music, like I mentioned, I really love kids and creating an opportunity for kids to know that they can be, to be exposed to more things. So I definitely want to come up with some more nonprofit stuff to give kids opportunities and experiences.
Well, you can tick off the bucket list, appeared with the Jazz Cat and Mr. G on Jazz Across the Road. You can tick that off the bucket list now.
Yes, all right, perfect. That was there from last year. You and I have been talking.
In 2013, you received the Soul Train Award for the Best Traditional Jazz Performance after competing with the likes of, Kevin, are you sat down? George Benson, Jeffrey Osborne, Chaka Khan, Tony Bennett, Mark Anthony, and Terence Blanchard. Now, tell us more about that occasion, please.
I have zero. Okay, so that every year the Soul Train Awards picks like 1 or 2 awards that they open up to the fan base. So they allow people to vote on them and email and vote. So I worked the heck out of my email list. I was like, hey, don't forget to vote for me today. And don't forget to vote
everybody
for me
vote, everybody vote.
Yeah, for like 30 days, I was writing everybody, don't forget to vote for me. And I don't think Tony Bennett did that. I don't think Chaka Khan was like, hey guys, don't forget to vote for me. You know what I mean? I don't think people realize. So no, but just being in the category alone to me was winning enough. And then to actually get it, I felt like, oh my gosh, what? So that was a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well, you have captivated audience all over the world in 20 countries, headlining the venues in cities such as, ready for this, New York City, Tokyo, Madrid, Moscow, Paris, Shanghai, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, San Francisco, and of course, Miami. You've also performed in over 30 music festivals around the world. Now, you've also performed with the Duke Ellington Orchestra and, let's go back to it, the Henry Mancini Institute Orchestra. Now, that is just incredible. So you've come so far from those days of touring background singing with Robert Blandys and then right the way through. What advice, briefly, because time is not the essence, is the essence here. What advice would you give to a young, aspiring, young jazz singer who looks up at you, is watching this clip tonight and going, I want to be where Nicole Henry is now? What advice would you give to her?
Just keep doing anything. Just do it. Do something. Do something, because something will get you to be. Creativity begets creativity, and you have to do something. You can't just think about it and wish and hope. Do it. Just do it.
And everything should be a learning experience as well.
Absolutely. Have no expectations. Just do it because you want to do it, because for the joy of doing it and wanting to share something, and always do your best. And there's that book, The 4 Agreements. Don't take anything personally. Nothing. Especially in this industry. Don't assume anything. Don't assume somebody heard it and hates you. Don't assume anything. Don't assume anything. Always do your best and be impeccable with your word. Do what you say you're going to do.
Bingo.
And those 4 things makes a good life.
Now, it's interesting you say that, because last year we interviewed Jeanette Harris, and we interviewed, and she took 2-3 years, religiously kept sending demo tapes to Paul Brown and kept going, listen to it, listen to it, listen to it. And the key word was perseverance. I think that was paramount. It was perseverance. She just kept going and kept going in that. And there's parallels on that with most of the artists that we've interviewed last year. And yes, some were in the right place at the right time and got the lucky break. But the other one, it was about perseverance and dealing with those knockbacks, because the music industry can be very, very hard and it can be brutal. And it's about dealing with those knockbacks and turn around and go, no, this isn't going to, I'm going to keep going on this one here. And we take our hat off to yourself. And I think it's admirable. It's fabulous. Kevin, have you got a last question from yourself, sir?
I do. Nicole, an interviewer once asked you a question about the Academy Award-winning documentary 20 Feet from Stardom. And I'm thinking he had your Aunt Deborah Henry in mind, obviously, but I want to take it in a different direction. In the film, Bruce Springsteen is speaking to the role and aspirations of backup singers as being something as if the walk to the front is complicated. And it's true. The walk to the front for a backup singer to the front of the stage, the front of band is complicated. But interestingly enough, stepping to the front has always been your aspiration since early childhood. I mean, you talked about at age 6, you looked in the mirror and you knew you wanted to be a star of some sort. So I have to ask you this question. What has driven you since that moment at age 6 when you looked in the mirror to accept nothing less than stepping into stardom?
Thank you. That's an interesting question. Well, what's funny, I find, I never need to be in the front, but I like doing. I like,
Right.
I feel that I'm worthy of being in the front, but I also have I will never put myself in front of somebody, and nor do I not expect them to be up front. So I never have to win. I never have to be in the front. And sometimes I think that's actually been detrimental to me because I don't push myself and have to be heard. And I'll keep knocking on doors because no just means no for now, but I don't have to, me. I don't need the spotlight. And I think I forget the question now, the rest of it, but I just have something to share with people. And if not me, why shouldn't I share it with people? And so again, it's like, I don't have expectations. I just enjoy doing what I do. And yeah.
Well, I think some people wait for, I think some people wait for things to happen. And I think you've always been proactive and you've always worked hard at trying to advance your career and the willingness to learn. I mean, you've shifted gears a couple of times, like when you went jazz. Oh my God, really? So,
yeah. From me playing guitar and like trying to figure out how do I get to be the next like newest Whitney Houston, and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, jazz. This is me. So yeah. Thank you.
Kevin, tour dates.
Ah, boy, I tell you what, my favorite date on your upcoming schedule would have to be February the 4th. February the 4th, you are going to be performing at the Tin Pan here in Richmond, Virginia, where I'm based out of.
Which where my aunt lives, so you'll meet her.
What?
She lives there, yes. Yes.
Are you kidding me? I had no idea. Well, if I don't introduce you, you'll have to introduce me to her. I'd love to meet her. Looking forward to meeting you. Just so everybody knows, the show starts at 8 o'clock. It's on February the 4th, but people don't wait. Order your tickets in advance. Waiting to buy your tickets at the door is risky business. I don't want you showing up to see one of our favorite singers and they go, oh, we're so sorry, but we're out of tickets. We've already sold them all.
Thank you.
So I know you've got some other dates on your schedule. I know that you've got on March the 13th, I believe, you're going to be in Delray Beach in Florida for the I Want to Dance with Somebody, the songs of Whitney Houston.
Right.
Is that still on the schedule?
Yeah, it's like a one-woman show that I've been doing for the last 2 years, which is
awesome.
Really so fun. It's a storytelling.
I bet that's a great performance. And then are there any other performances on the schedule you'd like to plug while we're at it?
Sure. February 3rd, I'm at Keystone Corner, which is up in Baltimore. February 6th, I'll be at Joe's Pub in New York after I leave Richmond. And then again, March 11th and 13th, I'll be in Philadelphia, April, I think 29th and 30th. I have some other dates, but I'm just not looking at them. But go to NicoleHenry.com and we will post them there. Or we'll sign up from the email list and we'll send you the dates.
Well, I'm just going to jump in now because I'm looking down this list and it's an amazing New York, Philadelphia, but I don't see London, England on there.
I know. Tell me when and where I need to go. Is it Ronnie Scott's? Where is it? The Pheasantry? You tell me where.
Scott's or the Pizza Express at home, and you got to come over. I know that English fans would. Whenever I play your music on my Jazz Moods radio show, I get people coming and going, "Where do we see it?" And I'm going, "I don't know." So you're going to have to let me know when you come over the pond and you come over to the UK, because I will be on the front row watching you.
We're going to work on that over the next 2 weeks. I actually have one more week left of that musical that you mentioned, A Wonderful World, that tribute to Louis. I think it's Broadway bound or West End bound. But
cool.
But after that week, we're like focused on the touring and putting that all together. So yes, I would love to come back to the UK.
Oh,
for sure.
okay.
Thank you for
Nico,
asking.
the curtain is slowly closing down this night. I hate it when it happens. I know Kevin myself. No. We're just getting into the meat of it. We get in the bite of it. Where can our followers purchase your CDs? Where can they get them from, please?
So you can always download them anywhere digitally. Of course, Apple Music, Spotify, it's there, streaming, Amazon, and we're working on Amazon physical CDs, but right now we're shipping CDs out of the Bannister Records too, and you can get them autographed too. So that's again at NicoleHenry.com. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, for any of our followers, as I said, we get a lot of followers religiously watch us on that, and we had a lot of interest with this one coming up and that. And if you are sitting there, you've had a bit of a taste, we're going to have another track to finish the interview. But any of these, whether it be the new one, Time to Love Again, brilliant album, and Jantable, the Teach Me Tonight, they're all stunning albums and well worth adding. And if you haven't got them in the collection, don't call yourself a jazz fan. So it's as simple as that.
Love it.
All right, it's as simple as that. Nicole, it has been an absolute delight and a great pleasure to finally get you to join us here on the studio. You're a very busy lady and you're in much demand. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and all the best to you this year. And I look forward to meeting you in person, both of you.
Oh, that would be
Amen. Amen.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Kevin?
Roger?
I was going to say, do you want to say goodnight?
Not really, but I guess we have to. Nicole, it's been a pleasure. Enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you in February.
Plan.
Keep yourself healthy. Don't miss that show.
Oh, absolutely not.
Now, Kevin, you're not going to make me feel envious, and you're not going to get a selfie with Nicole and send it to me with a kiss on the back, are you?
I would never do anything like that, Roger.
Wish you were here. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jazz Across the Pond. It's 2022. What an amazing way to kick off our series.
Absolutely.
Lovely Nicole Henry. I mean, this has set the pedestal now. Now we're going to move from there. So it's absolutely incredible. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us from sunny Miami. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us again, sir. And from everybody else, from Jazz Across the Pond, take care and look after yourself in this scary, scary world we're living. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Over time, I've been building my castle of love just for two. Though you never knew you were my reason, I've gone much too far for you now to say that I've got to throw my castle away. Over dreams I have picked out a perfect come true. Though you never knew it was you, I've been dreaming. The Sandman has come from too far away for you to say come back some other day. And though you don't believe that they do come true. For did my dreams come true when I looked at you? And maybe too, if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed over love, over me. too, if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed, overloved, over me. And though they are saying improbable, what do they know? For in romance, all true love needs is a chance, and maybe with a chance you will find you just like I am, overjoyed, overloved, over me. Like I'm over you.